All right, how you doing? It is the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, and it is definitely a stormy Monday, but we're going to get through it anyway. Once again, want to remind you that we come to you daily right here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network, giving you all that we know how to give you in the world of HBCU and beyond. Don't forget our Instagram, Facebook handle, and our Twitter handle is The Mike Prince Show. The website is obnradio.com. Without any further delay, we'll jump right into today's episode. I told you it was a stormy Monday.
They call it Stormy Monday.
Rough weekend all the way around in the land of Waller County and PV Nation. We got shut out all the way around, ladies and gentlemen. Royal High School loses. Waller High School loses. Hempstead High School loses. Blinn Buccaneers, number 9 in the nation, got upset. They lose. And, of course, our beloved Prairie View A&M University Panthers lose. But before we get into all of that, we'll get our wrap-ups from some of our corresponding schools on how their weekend took place.
This is Dan Carr from Lincoln University, Missouri, calling from Kirksville, Missouri, where the Blue Tigers fell to Truman State 20-13. The Blue Tigers trailed 20-0 entering the fourth quarter, but scored on back-to-back drives thanks to touchdown passes by Henry Ogala. Blake Tibbs caught the first one, a 77-yard pass that was mainly a catch and run for Lincoln's first touchdown of the game. Following two more big receptions by Tibbs, the Blue Tigers struck again late in the fourth quarter when Ezekiel Lang hauled in a 2-yard pass to pull the Blue Tigers to within one score. Blake Tibbs caught 4 passes for 158 yards and a touchdown to lead the Blue Tigers, while Gala threw for 201 yards on the day. Defensively, Lincoln was led by Amani Nelson with 12 tackles, a pass breakup, and a quarterback hurry. Again, this is Dan Carr from Lincoln University, Missouri, as the Blue Tigers fall to Truman State 20-13.
I'm Lee Hall reporting for the ball game between Mississippi Valley State versus Jackson State. Valley traveled to Jackson, took an hour-and-a-half trip south to take on the Tigers for their homecoming. Jackson State defeated Valley State by a score of 23-7. Jackson State got on the board first with 6:06 to play in the first quarter, where Romeo Shoemake with 8-yard pass from Jerry Hayes to make the score 7-0. The kid Garrett followed by Jacqueline. And Jackson State again scored. Jared Hayes, the quarterback, took one in. A 9-play, 84-yard drive with 4:11 to play in the first. And in the second quarter, Christian Jacqueline hit a 34-yard field goal to put Jackson State up 17-0. And again, Jacqueline hit a 47-yard field goal to put Jackson State up 20-0. And Jackson State went in at the half, leading Valley State 20-0. In the third quarter, with 2:52, Valley State, John Derek Smith, a 24-yard catch from DeJarrett Bryant, and the PAT was cleared by Ruben Pelcreed. And Valley State did go on the board, and that made the score 20-7. And in the fourth quarter, Jackson State, again, their field goal kicker, hit a 28-yard field goal. That's Christian Jacqueline. And that made the score 23-7. Jackson State won it. And looking at the overall stats, Jackson State, 65 plays, 335 yards. Valley State, 60 plays, 194 yards. Valley State rushed the football 17 times for minus 23 yards. Jackson State, 43 plays for 206 yards. The running back for Jackson State, Jordan Johnson, rushed it 22 times for 141 yards. He had a good day on yesterday. Mississippi Valley State, he projected to start on the season, did get in, and we're talking about the quarterback, Jet Even. Even got into the football game with a minute 34 to play in the second quarter. And then they were able to swap quarterbacks back and forth. So Jet Even did get some playing time. Again, the projected starting quarterback for Dallas State got playing time in the sixth ball game. So Dallas State will be playing next week. They'll be celebrating their homecoming against Arkansas Pine Bluff. I'm leaving all reporting on the game between Mississippi Valley State and Jackson State on the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got a special call in from Mr. Ted Dixie himself. He's one of the voices for the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. They had a huge game this past weekend against the Alcorn State Braves. Fell a little short, but we'll let Brother Dixie tell us the recap and see what he had to see from his perspective. How you doing today, sir?
We're doing well, Mr. Prince. Thank you for having us. It was homecoming on the Hill this past Saturday. The Bulldogs 2-1 the conference, facing off big brother Alcorn State University at 2-1 the conference as well. Big doings. The Bulldogs hung in there, but came up short 35-26. We were tied at 10 at halftime. Bulldogs thought we had something, but Alcorn goes out and outscores us in the third period, 22-8. Bulldogs make a run at the fourth quarter, though, outscoring them 8-3. What does a dual-threat quarterback look like? It looks like Noah Johnson, 154 yards rushing and 165 yards passing. Akil Glass finished with 203 yards passing, accounting for 2 of the Bulldogs' touchdowns. Again, the Bulldogs come up short, but that does not diminish in 2 weeks. The 77th Magic City Classic against Alabama State. Should the Bulldogs win, that puts a almost a three-way tie at the top of the Eastern Division. But we need to help side, but Alcorn needs to come up short if we're going to make it interesting by the end of the season.
Well, brother, it's mighty interesting that you say that because Alcorn will be the next opponent for the Prairie View A&M University Panthers in a couple of weeks. Prairie View, of course, being, I should say, handled by the score of 38-0 against the Southern Jags. From what you've seen, what you know about Alcorn, how do you measure this team up?
Alcorn is going to run the football, and it's made easier by that fine quarterbacking of Noah Johnson. You know, we knew one of our coaching staff tried to recruit him back in the day, and he said if you got his passing to be more accurate, he'd be a much more dangerous quarterback. That's what we're seeing now, and that's what makes Alcorn go. Especially now their running game. We can't forget about P.J. Simmons or Waller back there in the backfield. They both are spinners, twisters. When they run the football, they're always falling forward. That's the biggest deal. But I'm going to tell you, when it comes to being a big brother smacking around a little brother, that Alcorn defense is something serious.
Wow. Well, it's going to be intriguing how this final stretch of the season unfolds. We want to thank you so much, man, for being a part of our Monday morning wrap-up. Let people know how they can, A, follow you in social media and how they can listen to A&M Bulldog football.
You can follow us on social media at Ted Dixie on Facebook. And then if you're looking for something good to listen to on a Saturday afternoon, go over to WJAB.org. 30 minutes before the Bulldogs kick off, and you'll hear the Electronic Media Communications pregame show on 90.9 FM WJAB. Thank you so much, Mr. Prince. Good talking to you. Hey, Prairie View, help us
out. Well, we got to help ourselves, and maybe in helping ourselves, we'll help the Bulldogs on the eastern side. Brother Ted, we want to thank you so much. I am the radio guy to Dr. Mike Prince. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Each team starts their journey on separate roads, but they all converge to one road to the championship. There will be revenge and redemption. There'll be an Aggie and Eagle standoff. There'll be Bulldogs and Bears colliding with Tigers and Spartans. Hornets fighting off Bison and Wildcats rattling the Rattlers. The road has twists and turns. And when it ends, one thing is certain. Only one team will claim the title. MEAC champion.
The birth of legends are storied in this conference. We must never forget our rich history. We now turn our gaze to the future. The new legends will emerge. New heroes to arise. The Southwestern Athletic Conference. Be our history.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We do thank Brother Ted Dixie for calling in to give his live report right here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We try to give you well-balanced coverage throughout the MEAC and the SWAC. We got something special for you on tomorrow, so be sure to come back and check us out. Now, in the regards of all the events that has taken place over the weekend, it's a disappointing result, and the performance, or should we say lack of performance, for the Prairie View A&M University Panthers. I get it, I understand it, and it's all a part of the cycle of dealing with young minds and making sure that you're staying balanced. And there was a lot of disenchanted PV Nation fans throughout the course of this weekend. Trust me, I've gotten an earful, inbox, text, phone calls. It is what it is. But I want to help clarify some things. I want to address a couple of things on this morning's episode that we could dispel any myths, or just excuses. Number one, there was no excuse for the performance that was issued out on this past weekend. I do not have a problem with losing. There's nothing that says that you're going to win any and everything in life at all times. But it's the way we lost that seemed to be very disturbing for me. I understand that things happen, as I mentioned. That's part of life. But to get shut out at home on your season opener, you got to remember this was our first home game, and it was just an eerie feeling all the way around from beginning to end. But I think the story that's getting more press than it should be getting is the Unigate situation. And before I get into that, I'm going to play a soundbite from Coach Eric Dooley, and then we'll continue on with the rest of our thoughts and comments.
Well, I wouldn't say necessarily shut us down, but I will say I take my hat off to Coach Adams and Coach Holder and his coaching staff. I thought they had a great game plan together, and they came out and they executed in all three phases of the game.
Sure. And were you expecting to see that quarterback?
No, well, like I say all the time, I know this conference have a lot of talent, and it doesn't matter about how a guy played with previous teams, but I always look for him to come out, and I know the history and the magnitude of that program, so I know those guys who's going to come out and fight.
Sure. And your offense, you came in leading the SWAC in yards. Just what was it that wasn't clicking?
No, we didn't have one of our better nights, obviously, because we didn't put in the points we're going to score, but I can say we didn't have a better night as a team, so it's some things we got to correct. And the thing about it, we're going to move forward and get ready for our next game.
Sure. And what did they tell you guys about the uniforms? What did the refs say at the beginning?
Well, they say it was contrast to say they couldn't see the numbers, but we played in the uniform once before it, and we do have a letter from the NCAA stating that the uniforms was clear to play in, so I didn't understand why it was a huge problem. I think it was confused with the uniforms we sent back, which was purple on purple, and so they thought that was because purple was involved. So I thought that was poor judgment right there, but it doesn't matter. We're going to move forward. We're not going to let things stop us. If that was the case, we just went to another uniform.
And of course, that was the Ghost Eric Dooley with his official post-game report. And I'm going to address a couple of situations in that report, and we'll go in reverse order. He talked about it was poor judgment with the uniforms and what we're now referring to as Unigate. And I'm going to let it be known what I know of this situation. I happen to be sitting right behind the head official of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, Mr. Harold Mitchell, throughout the course of this game. And these are facts as they developed in front of me. So you could take it for what it's worth, and it is what it is. I'm just reporting as a good journalist would report. The first problem that we have was there was a lack of communication between Prairie View A&M University and the officiating of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And we might as well include the NCAA as well. If you recall when the uniforms were first issued out and everybody was excited, the uniform that was obviously of dispute or concern was the purple on purple. That means a purple uniform with the purple numbering trimmed in the gold. And they said it was contrasting and it could not be seen. Now let me explain something why it makes a big difference. When you have people sitting 100 yards away in a press box that are supposed to keep official stats, they need to be able to identify the players. And of course, the players are identified by number. And you should be able to look from afar and identify the player without having to strain to do so. Now, the uniform of question was the dark gray uniform with the purple lettering that was trimmed in gold. And depending on where you were on the stadium, and you got to remember this was a 5 o'clock game, so you're still having to deal with the sun setting, and there was a big overcast shadow over the field. And depends on where Prairie View was located, it would be somewhat challenging to see the number. However, on the case of Prairie View, they said, look, we played in these uniforms against Sam Houston. There was not a problem then, so why is it a problem now? Now, going to the rule book of the NCAA, it states that it must be contrasting numbers, which means one is darker or lighter than the other. And it must be to the discretion of the officials that are calling that game. And if Mr. Harold Mitchell, who was representing the officials' crew, he had a problem identifying seeing the numbers from the press box. Other people had a problem with it, but he was the official. Some people didn't have a problem with seeing the numbers, but he was the official living rule book. Now, there was a letter that was produced to Mr. Harold Mitchell stating, obviously, that the purple on purple uniform was not in compliance. But it did not say if the others were or were not in compliance. It just automatically stated that this purple uniform definitely is not in compliance. As a result, Mr. Mitchell asked two questions. He said, did you get a follow-up letter with this letter you're showing me? And then what I felt was the most relevant question, did you, Prairie View, send model uniforms to the office where they could see them firsthand? And that was not the case. So as a result, Prairie View was penalized the loss of one timeout. They did address the issue and change uniforms at halftime. Case dismissed. Now, some people were saying because of that incident, and let me add one more thing. This comes from Mr. Harold Mitchell's mouth, not from Mike Prince's mouth, but I was there to witness all of this myself. And I quote, I spoke with Eric Dooley beforehand, and I told him that he was not to wear the particular uniform in discussion. That's why he did not allow Prairie View to come out and warm up in the uniforms because he knew we were going to address it, unquote. I'm not telling you what someone else told me. I'm telling you what I heard for myself. That's a whole nother issue that's beyond Mike Prince's pay grade. But back to the matter at hand. Whether you're playing in gray on purple, white on purple, yellow on purple, it does not have any effect in the results that were performed and displayed on Saturday evening. You can say what you want to, you can make up all the excuses that you want. There was absolutely no, like I said, I don't have a problem with the loss to Southern, but you can't tell me that we're not worthy of scoring a field goal or anything of that magnitude. Now, it was a 5 turnover game. I understand that. And like I stated, you're going to have some games like that. That's the nature of dealing with humans. You're going to be on some day that seem like you could never make a mistake, and then you're going to have times where it seems like all you're doing is making mistakes. If you listen back to this interview from Coach Dooley, it was asked, with the changing of the quarterbacks, they had a young man by the name of Ladarius Skelton, who just had a phenomenal day. Southern University rushed for over 350 yards, over 500 yards of offense, had 85 some odd plays compared to the 65 plays of Prairie View. He did not really address that question. I know the question. It was difficult, and it's always difficult because when you don't have footage, you don't have film on individuals, it's hard to adjust to what they're going to do. Coach Odom's back was against the wall. He had to do something drastic, something different. He pulls out the number 3 quarterback in the name of Brother Skelton. He has the game of a lifetime. And Southern Nation came in and really dictated the flow from beginning to end. They dictated the flow. There was no accountability for containing Southern's quarterback, Ladarius Skelton. He rushed alone for over 200 yards. And we know that within the Southwestern Athletic Conference, if you have a quarterback, you've got a chance. So the last thing that I want to address that was first addressed in this particular soundbite, how do you feel with Southern shutting you down? And he says he didn't feel like Southern shut us down. If that was not shut down, I don't know what shut down is. Once again, we have to be able to look at it as if it was. Now, there were a whole bunch of other things going on. Social media has erupted. PV Nation has erupted. Outside foes has erupted in regards from the red jacket that was worn on the sideline to the behavior and the antics that was displayed by our coaching staff. Say what you want. Respond how you want. That's part of it. But one thing about it, we're going to be consistent. And if you're telling me that the performance from A to Z was acceptable, then you're entitled to that belief. But I personally feel that that was nowhere near acceptability. There was something strange about the entire mood and day going on. So now you have a really, really huge hill to climb right now. We have a bye week coming up. But guess what? Alcorn is coming to town, and they are going to bring the funk. I can assure you that. Well, look, I'm already over time for today. Trust me, we got a whole lot that we're going to cover with this bye week in store. Prairie View will not be in action again until October 27th, where we'll take on, as I mentioned, the Alcorn State Braves. I am the radio guy, the Dr. Mike Prince. I want to thank you all so much for your continued support. As I was walking in to the stadium on Saturday, a lot of people were able to recognize me, and I feel honored, blessed, and privileged to be in the position to be the voice of reason, the voice of logic when it comes to the world of HBCU, in particular to that of our beloved Prairie View A&M University. Please continue to follow us on our social media at Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. The Mike Prince Show. And of course, the website is obnradio.com. PV Nation, who you rooting for? PVU. Until the next time, you guys be blessed. We'll see you on the other side.